Welcome to DucBloke Tuning and Finding the Sweet Spot. Grab a cup of coffee and like and subscribe.
Welcome back to DucBloke Tuning and Finding the Sweet Spot. Today's video is going to be a straight shot, no editing. It's my ranking video. So I did my last ranking video about 6 months ago, showed everyone all the IEMs that are from here to the left, how I rank those, but these are all the new ones that have come across my desk, let's say in the last 6 months that I've run through the ringer. And I want to show you where they fit into the ranks in a little bit more detail. Now the background to this slide was also really popular in the ranking video because I explained all of the different parameters, the 17 parameters that I use to judge each one of these IEMs and where their frequencies are. So how wide they are, and how wide, where's note weight, where's sound stage, where's sibilance, where's texture, where's masking, layering, tonality. But we're going to focus on the second half of the video is going to be about the IEMs themselves. And the first part, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth on this. This slide shows everything from the sub bass to the bass to the lower mids, the upper mids, the lower treble, and the upper treble. And then at the bottom, it shows the frequency range that they fit into. When you talk about bass field, well, what frequency range does that usually apply to? And then slam, when I have a parameter for slam, where is that? Where is the note weight? Where the sound stage, which is quite wide, the timbre, the masking, the layering, the tonality, texture, sibilance. But today I'm going to focus on giving you some basic tricks. If you want to elevate the bass in your IEM and you use Squig.Link and you have, let's say, a PEQ setting that you've made to a target within Squig.Link, how do you elevate the bass equally across a wide range to lift everything? Well, I start at 20 Hertz and then I add about 1.5 dB steps. So I'll do 1.5, I'll do 3, I'll do 4.5. I set my Q value, which is the width of the impact, to 0.3, which means it's going to be really wide. So the lower the number, the wider that's going to be. And I always use peak filters. So everything I'm going to show you today uses a peak filter to keep it simple. Next, I'm going to show you a basic trick on how to pull male vocals forward and back. Sometimes male vocals are too far forward and it starts to get a little bit muddy. That's usually in this region right here where the bass isn't tucked well enough, or if the bass is tucked too much, you'll find that the male vocals are recessed and start to sound a little bit tinny. So I use the frequency 170 Hertz. To pull it forward, you work in 1 dB steps. So you add a dB or you subtract a dB. And I use a Q value of 1. So instead of the 0.3, which has a really wide range, impacts a very wide section of the bass, I now want to focus on this area between 100 and 200. So I only use 1 on the Q value. And again, I use a peak filter. Another basic trick, how to correct sibilance. So if you hear sibilance, and that's typically around the 6K region, you'll get a 6K peak. It can be 5K, it can be 7K, somewhere around there. But you look for the positive peaks in the PEQ output that are around 6K. It may be at 5, it may be all the way up at 7, but usually there's a peak at about 6K. And you go in half a dB steps and you move it up and down. So you're not adjusting the Q value now, you're looking for the output that's already there in your PEQ output. When you actually do the auto tuning and then you have the output file, look for the peaks where it's a positive number that is around 6K, and you move that up and down in half dB steps. So if it's sibilant, you want to pull it back. You want to subtract. So you do minus 0.5 dB steps downward. If it's, let's say, a little bit warm, then you add it in 0.5 steps until the sibilance just starts, and then you back it away again. But you make sure that you select a track that you know is going to be sibilant. Don't Give Up by Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. That song is sibilant out of the box. I also use a Smithereens song for that as well, where I know it's going to be sibilant. And what I do is I try to tone that sibilance down using this trick at about 6K. The last trick I'm going to show you that I use for tuning, if you want to tilt the entire upper treble region, so you want to do a tilt right through here, this whole thing. You want to move this up and down to add brightness to the IEM. Maybe it's too bright, it's a little bit fatiguing, and you want to warm it up a little bit. Set up a filter add a brand new filter at 15,000 hertz, so at 15K, and then you set a Q value of 0.5 and you go up or down depending on what you want. If you want to brighten it, you add a dB. If you want to warm it up, you subtract a dB. If it's still not bright enough, you add 2 dB. And what that will do is it'll take this region and tilt it from about the 6K region up. You might hear the sibilance start to come in, and that's when you go back to the previous one and you pull that sibilance back down again. But those are some tricks, some basic tricks that I use for tuning IEMs. Now we're going to talk about the ranking. So I do ranking before and after PEQ. And I've made this a video, so let's play the video and you can scroll through. You can see that I only have 3 IEMs before PEQ that I would consider to be S tier. There's the Grand Maestro, the CP622B, and the Alpha Omega Omega. Let's play this just here. You can see the Valhalla is here, the Mausa, you can see the Mega 5 EST, the Aurora. There's quite a few, but anything that's got new next to it is new to the list. So you can see here there's new, there's the P50, there's the Awakened Dawn, there's the Q1 Pro. I added the Z300, which I've had for a long time, the One Ear, which was always very popular, the ND Planet, which is a great little budget set. We're going to talk about that. And I've added quite a few others as well. So, but more importantly than my list of before PEQ is my list after PEQ, because this channel is all about maximizing your investment and finding settings that are going to give you the best sound for no extra money. I'll just send you the PEQ, right? So you try it out, get a lot of good feedback, see what you think. This is my list, the next list, after PEQ. Sorry, just go right here. Said I'm not going to edit this. There we go. So this is the list after PEQ. Now there are more S tiers in there. You can see the new ones here, the Mega 5 EST Bass, the Prismatica, the Spectromica. There again is the P50. Older IEMs like the NS9 from BGVP turned out to be quite good after the PEQ. Some real surprises here as well in the budget area. I just did a video on single DD budget sets, comparing 9 of them against each other, and I've added those into this list as well. Some of this you might not agree with. There are things like the Noir, the Pilgrim Noir, which I didn't like very much, or the Hexa, which I didn't like very much. I still tuned it, but it really wasn't my, let's say, my flavor. And sometimes some of these sets, you know, be like 200, and then there'll be other sets that are like 20 bucks. You know, the Okavango, you know, it's a high senior. It's not one of the best high seniors. I think the Mega 5 EST is much better. On that, let's talk about the new stuff. I've put stars next to the stuff that I wanted to talk about here. So the Aurora, the Flip Ears Aurora, it starts out as an A tier. It's about a $2,000 set. It tunes really, really well. So it takes to the tuning, and the tuning is quite aggressive as well. And I sent this to Aries, the owner of Flip Ears, and he listened to it and he got his team to listen to it as well. And he thought, wow, this is really good. I put a couple of stars next to it because I think this is an excellent set, but only after the PEQ is applied. And it does elevate it up into that S tier plus. So it's one of my top 4 IEMs by doing that. The Valhalla came across my desk, 19 BAs. It is a texture beast. Really, really good texture. It tunes well, but again, it's $2,000. It wasn't quite all the way up into S tier plus. It was just under at 9.84. You have to be in the 9.9 range to get into the S tier plus, but excellent. If you own it, send me an email. I will send you the tuning. Same thing here. The tuning was quite aggressive. Added about 0.7 to it on the Mausa. Moving over to the Mega 5 EST Bass Plus. I think this is an excellent set. Gave it 3 stars to talk about it because at that price range, if you look at all the prices here, all of a sudden this drops down to $589. And this thing I think is an S tier IEM with the PEQ applied. It's A tier to start, but once you apply that PEQ to it, it really does elevate it into the range of an S tier IEM. Next one down is the Prismatica. This is a wild card. I gave it 2 stars here to talk about it. It's $899, so it's about $300 more than the Bass Plus. But what's really cool about this, I usually don't like all BA sets. That's a 5 BA set. What makes it different is it uses Elena capacitors, so audio quality capacitors inside, like full-size audio quality capacitors, and it really does give it a really warm, rich feel in the bass region. So I was really, really surprised at how well that worked. So it went from an A tier to an S tier. Next up, let's look at some other ones. The P50, I put a star next to that so I could talk about it. That is a semi-open back IEM. It goes from a C to an A tier, so it elevated quite well. I thought it was an excellent set, just tuned up really, really well. It got an 8.97. Anything that rounds up to 9, it just comes in at the A tier level by rounding it up, and it's 181 bucks, so it does compete with its peers very well. Then you have the NS9, which I thought started out as a D tier. Didn't really like the sound on it, but then it becomes a A tier. It's actually quite good. Again, it rounds up at 8.96 up into the A tier range, and then it competes really well with its top peers. And then you come down, this is the wild card, man. I'll tell you, get one of these. The ND Planet. $17. It starts out as a C tier, so it sounds great out of the box. Moves up to a really strong B tier, not far from the A tier range, and it's 17 bucks. It has a really cheap cable. It looks like a really cheap build, but the driver, that one dynamic driver, is made extremely well. If you've got an extra 17 bucks to spend, go on Amazon or go on AliExpress and pick up the ND Planet. Some other ones of note that are really good, because this comes with better accessories and it's almost as good. It got an 8.7. It went from a C tier to a B tier. This is the EPZ Q1 Pro. I thought it was an excellent set for the money. So for 31 bucks, it's really good looking, comes with a decent cable and a nice little carry case. The next one is incredibly popular, the Tangzu One Ear. And I've had a lot of people ask me for my tuning for this, and it got an 8.7 as well. So again, $16. Doesn't have as good of accessories as, let's say, the Q1 Pro. If I was to choose between the two, I'd pay the extra and get the Q1 Pro just because it looks better and it's got better accessories, but they both sound very similar. So they both perform really, really well. And there's a lot of one ears out there. If you own one, send me an email. I'll give you the PEQ for it. Next one up is the XHBB Z300. This is by Blon. Again, $24. It elevated by about 0.5 up to an 8.6. It's a really solid build. It's a beautiful IEM. It's made out of metal and it's got gold plating, so it's worth a mention. This next one is an incredible wild card like the ND Planet, where for $5 you can get a KZ EDC Pro. It's the cheapest build you'll ever see. The faceplate actually looks pretty good. The cable on it is as cheap as you can imagine. I gave it 5 stars because, my God, for $5 you're getting an 8.6 IEM after you tune it. So it starts out as a D tier and then becomes a really solid B tier just by adding PEQ settings to it. Next one is the Inawaken Dawn. Gave it 3 stars to talk about it because at 45 bucks, it is a really good quality build. The resin shells are excellent. The tips that come with it, the cable, it's really, really a nice setup for under 50 bucks. And you're able to get it again up to that same level of B tier sound. So $5, 45 bucks, 50 bucks, buy both. Here's the end of the video. What have I got cooking in the kitchen? Couple more IEM, 4 more actually, that are happening. You've got the Slivo SLA3 by Meyer Audio. These are in the house. Quite beautiful, really nice cables with these. It actually has a knurled plug. This plug, by the way, The Audio, take some notes because these guys are doing it right and you are not. This plug, which is a interchangeable plug, actually screws on and looks like it was made to be like that. So this is an excellent cable that comes with this. And there it is. It's 109 bucks. Sound is really good. I'll be doing a review on these in the coming weeks. Next one is its brother, which is also by Meyer Audio, which is the CK2V. And this has more drivers in it. There it is at $189. Same plug again, same great cable build where you've got these interchangeable tips and it's knurled and you screw it on. Just the cable alone is just so well made. It's an excellent budget set at 189 bucks, but we'll be doing the sound impressions on these shortly. And then I've got the Forte Ears Macbeth. It is a $4,000 IEM and I am loving it. There it is. There's a Macbeth. Macbeth is in the house, just came in, so I'll be listening to this over the next couple weeks. And I gotta tell you, this may take the #1 spot on my list. I've done some tuning on it and wow, the resolution on this. Nothing comes close. I'm really impressed by the Macbeth. Shout out to Forte Ears for sending that on tour with Brotherhood of Audiophiles. And then the last one that I also got, Brotherhood of Audiophiles, is the Repsidio Supremacy. That's a $6,000 set. Again, I've done some sound impressions on it. It is really, really good. I think I like the Macbeth more. It's cheaper. More to follow. With that, happy Sunday. Tomorrow's my birthday, but I got to travel. Anyway, so you get the video before my birthday. And with that, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, send me comments, ask me for PQs. Appreciate all the comments that I've been getting. DucBloke out.
Thank you for visiting DucBloke Tuning and finding the sweet spot. Your comments are very much appreciated. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. Share the PEQ settings with you if you own these particular IEMs or if you plan on purchasing them to maximize your investment. Again, thank you so much for supporting the project.